Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Kerfuffle showcase. I am delighted today to have Swoop on. Sharon, Damon, welcome to the show. It's really good to have you guys on. You okay?
Morning. Yeah, fine. Good. Thank you. Morning.
Welcome to the pink creature that is Kerfuffle. As you might have noticed, we've gone a little bit over the top, not least with my new background now, which is now just completely taking the mickey in terms of there. Guys, could you just give us a little bit of an overview just to start off with, for those people that don't know the name? Obviously, you're a really big business in your own right, but I think it's fair to say a lot of agents won't know you are. Could you just give us a bit of an overview just to kick off in terms of so they understand where you're coming from?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Swoop has been trading for just over 2 years now. We're a technology platform. I guess the way to describe us is kind of like as a virtual CFO for businesses, or a moneysupermarket.com for businesses, whichever way you want to look at it. But basically, we're a platform where businesses can integrate their financial information, register, answer a few questions around what they may be looking for, and we then use artificial intelligence and our data matching to match them to solutions in the marketplace. Alongside that, we have some grey-haired people like me that have been in funding since, I was going to say the early 90s, but that makes me feel really old. But I've worked in banks and alternative funders, that kind of thing. And so we kind of have a team of experts that can hold businesses' hands through that process. So we use really, really great technology with some grey-haired experienced people to kind of chaperone people through that process. And we do funding, which includes loans and debt and equity and grants. We also do savings, so we can help look at switching bank accounts and saving money on that, or looking at utilities like energy and all those kind of things, and also a little bit around financial health for SMEs. So we can look at a business and work out a little bit around their credit score or the data points and how they kind of like compare to some of their sector peers and stuff like that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I think so. So basically, you are, as you said, a financial resource there, and crucially as well, because many of the businesses, obviously in agency, are SMEs. You're perfectly used to dealing with those type of businesses, aren't you?
Yeah, we deal with lots of different types of business, which is really exciting. But I think where our strength is the relationship with the marketplace. So it's vast, and at one point we had like over 1,000 suppliers on our platform who did debt, equity, savings, all those kind of things, and we manage those, right? So we have conversations with those funders, including the high street banks and some of the other people, and we have strong relationships. So we know that when somebody comes to us, they share information with us. We can look at what they need. We can package the application and get it to the right funder in good time, get good conversion rates and high levels of success, because it's I guess it's a really kind of evolving funding landscape in the current climate, and we've done a really good job, I think, of. If I look back at, I've only been with Swoop for 6 months. If I look back at those last 6 months, the last 4 months have been the best part of my career, because I've had to use all those kind of like experience over the years of being a banker to kind of navigate that funding landscape, work with the funders to kind of like understand a little bit around how they're reacting to changes, and also with our partners on the other side. So we have some strong partnerships with people like the British Chamber of Commerce and Festival of Enterprise, and businesses that are really kind of like helping SMEs navigate these things. And we can educate our partners so they can then educate their clients in terms of what's going on and stuff. So yeah, it's been really, really exciting period for us.
I was going to say, it's what I loved about the website actually there is I encourage everyone to go and have a look at the Swoop website. It doesn't feel like you are looking at a classic financial site. It really feels like it's bringing it to life in a simplistic fashion, rather than hiding behind loads of legalese or 1,000,001 forms and everything else there. It genuinely feels like this is a new solution for the right time. And I'm assuming that's why I think you just said there. Obviously, the last few months have been challenging on all fronts, but unsurprising from your point of view, it's been a really busy period, hasn't it?
It's been a crazy period for us. I mean, there's a couple of things on that. We're still a young business, right, as well. So we're experiencing lots of these things that the businesses that register with us feel every day as well. We were lucky enough to get some money from the Banking Competition Remedies Solution. So we were given some money from sort of central government to help create kind of like more digital funding solutions for businesses. So but what that means is that we have to really, really focus on customer journeys and engaging with our clients well. I mean, and just in terms of what's happened with COVID, we were lucky enough that we actually started working from home a week before lockdown. We thought something was happening, and so we decided to take that. We did a business continuity check, believe it or not, on the 12th of March and never came back. So that was quite good. But actually, we also set up a COVID helpline. We set that up, I think it was on the 13th of March, and I was the person that volunteered to man the phone on that weekend. And it was interesting. It ran off the hook. I spent the whole weekend sat in my study answering the phone. And to be honest with you, it was fairly frustrating and a bit scary for the first couple of days because nobody really knew what was going on. We had people, in small coffee shops ringing up saying their livelihood was going to be destroyed and all those kind of things. Yeah. And what we learned during that period of time was that it was about keeping calm, right? Solutions were coming. We knew that the British Business Bank were going to provide some support and the government would provide support. So it was basically just educating people around what that was going to look like. Just to give you some figures, we were probably registering 10 to 20 customers a day prior to COVID. At our peak, we got up to about 180. And we're still kind of running along at somewhere between 100 and 150 a day now. But I think what it enabled us to do by speaking to those customers on the hotline was understand their pain, and I guess really realize what was important to them. And I'll give you an example. I mean, I think it was day 3 where I was approached by a chain of estate agents who banked one of the high street banks. This was after the CBILS, the coronavirus business support loans were issued, and they couldn't get hold of their bank manager. And obviously, they were panicking, really concerned. And what we were able to do, because we had relationships with the high street bank, was to speak to somebody quite senior in the bank and have a conversation about this group and say, look, these people are really panicking, and get the bank to speak to them directly. We helped them structure a proposal, and they were able to secure CBILS. But what this is all around really is around kind of leveraging our knowledge of the marketplace and our experience to help hold people's hands and make it easy for them.
Well, that's great, isn't it? Because that's just leveraging age-old relationships and connections there to make things happen, isn't it?
My black book came in really useful during that period, if I'm honest. I mean, I'm lucky enough to, if I say lucky, I never really set out to be a banker, but I played rugby with a guy who was a banker, and he offered me a job, and I kind of must have had a few beers afterwards or something. I don't know what happened, but I've worked for RBS.
It's not quite the origin story of the Avengers, is it? But it's
no, it's not quite that good. No. I did end up in hospital with 13 stitches in the back of my head, though. But that's a story over a beer, not for now. That's okay. But what I was going to say is, if you've worked in some of these banks, you grow up with people who you kind of go on your career with. You can pick up the phone to them, and banks get a bad rep for some of these things, but they were inundated during that period of time. And actually being able to speak to them and say, look, can you please help this customer out has proved really great for us. And what I'm trying to say about Swoop is, it's not just all about the tech. It's about building those strong relationships with funders and suppliers on our marketplace so that they see us as somebody who's credible. Yeah. They don't just want to see us as a bunch of people with like beards and skinny jeans and stuff like that. They want us to see us as a bunch of people that have experienced some of these things and taught their language as well.
It's a really compelling combination, that though, isn't it? Where the tech does look, and obviously I know I get all distracted by that, but the tech, it delivers on that classic good thing that tech does, though. It's not just shiny. You can see straight away where the advantages come from using the tech like that. But again, compelling, mix that up with a service like you're offering as well, and those two together are really powerful. Sharan, you obviously welcome back. We're like the mafia. We're dragging you back. You've tried to get out of the property industry, and we're dragging you back in again. So obviously, from somebody who's obviously been in the game from our property industry side of things here, how do you see the obviously Swoop delivering for the estate agents?
Well, I think it's I'm in a unique position here, right? Because I've been dealing with the trials and tribulations of estate agents for a number of years, and I think I can finally be in a position where we can actually add value. I think there's a lot of tech suppliers that, hey, we're creating a problem for you, and then we're going to have that solution. With Swoop, what we're actually doing is we're taking out the headache in finance, right? There's a lot there, and I think as a business owner, you want to focus on what you do best, right? For estate agents, that is bringing new landlords on board, selling more properties. And I think with Swoop, we take the headache out of that, and we take all the noise out of that. We get you to the right sources. I mean, there are 200-300 lenders out there you can go to. You won't know which one's the right one, and you want to make sure that your time is being used valuably. So we kind of take all that headache, we put that aside, we have the relationships, we know the people, and we make sure that your best interests are represented. So I think it's unique because it took me getting out of property to finally be able to properly help estate agents. So I'm really happy about this relationship.
That's great. So again, I'm getting caught up in my whole superheroes thing, but it's like when Batman goes off into the desert to find himself, isn't it? So you're officially now the Swoop Batman, as far as I'm concerned. What I loved about talking to you guys when we obviously had our initial call, because I think it's really important from our point is it's beholden on us. We think at Kerfuffle to do the due diligence, to find those companies that are going to deliver value, that aren't going to tie up our clients in knots. And one of the best things you can possibly do is to give people honest feedback, whether they like it or not. And, there's only one thing more dangerous than not being helpful, and that's just saying yes to everything. One of the things that you spoke about quite eloquently when we were talking was that, look, you do quite a detailed bit of research up front to make sure that you are just able to help these people out, aren't you? So that you can, at the earliest possible stage, say, look, guys, we don't feel, or at least we can say that these particular providers are the ones that are right for you because of X, Y, Z, or even totally, look, being honest, guys, where you are at the moment, this isn't going to work for you. Is that right in terms of that I gleaned that from what you guys are about?
Yeah, I think for me, the way that we operate is that I use the word curate, but that's probably a bit. We basically just get loads of information from the data that's shared with us. So when somebody registers with Swoop, they can integrate their bank accounts, they can integrate their financial accounts, they can upload the key information that we know that every funder is going to want, and from that initial assessment, we will match them to appropriate funders based on some high-level criteria. But we also tier our funders based on credit appetite. Now what that means is, if you look at the range of credit grades across the UK, you have some businesses like the big corporates that are kind of an A, and you have the one-man coffee shop who's just been trading for 3 months, it's probably an E. Most of the businesses are in between those things, right? The banks love the A's and the B's because they don't take much risk. And the C's and the D's in between are the ones that I would say historically underserved by the funding market. And we have alternative funders that will fund the whole of that risk spectrum. What's really important is that we use those data points when somebody registers to quite quickly not only match them to a funder, but assess their ability to acquire that funding. Okay. And so some of the technology we use, we use a technology called TrueLayer, which gives us bank integrations, and that's really great because some of the new funders will look at 3 to 6 months cash flows based on bank statements. Some of the more traditional companies, the funders look at the financial accounts that register on Companies House and management accounts and all that kind of stuff. But the ability to look at those things and work out whether or not success is going to be inevitable, marginal, or not at all is really, really important because, as I said earlier, we have lots of companies registered with us every day. We have companies from across the UK, every sector, every type, sole traders, big corporates. We have people looking for £10,000. We've got a company at the moment that's looking for £10 million. And what's really interesting is they tend to be, the companies that register with us tend to be, you think that there'd be a wide risk, kind of wide range of credit grades and stuff like that. But actually, they tend to be businesses that are fairly established, kind of middle of the road in terms of credit grades. So not high risk or low risk, but kind of middle of the grade, which is great because we've got a lot of funders that do that. And actually the average, the date of birth for the people that register with us and successful is they were born in 1974. So they're a lot older than we thought they would be as well.
Given that that's a year younger than me, I'm feeling bad now. Thank you for that.
I was born in 1970, so I'm not saying a word.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Damon, Sharon. Thank you very much for joining us today, and hopefully we can send you some business.
It's brilliant to see you again, Simon. Take care. All the best.
Thank you.